Okay, so now we're going to be speaking about gender-sensitive pedagogy and strategies for inclusive STEM education and the application of STEAM approach. Um, yeah, I already spoke to you about the 𝗓𝗏𝗏 project. 𝗓𝗏𝗏 project is a Horizon project that tries to, first of all, bridge the gap between bring female participation to the front lines of all the policy initiatives, etc. And again, to promote, to promote mentoring, to promote needs-based methodologies, to promote inspiration-based activities for students and for school students, university students, and educators in order to support them and give them all the tools that they need. I would love to start this with the example that maybe those of you who were in Palermo during our seminar there probably already heard, but I really like this example from very recent, basically. It happened in November. So there is this kind of, I don't know, something that happened on social media, which usually are, we can see that it's something not that serious, but in my opinion, because I'm a sociologist, I see it as symptoms of societal change, etc. So when a woman named Juliet Turner went to her account in X, she posted this photo and she said, "I passed my Viva exam. After 4 years of research, I successfully defended my thesis. You can call me doctor," and posted her photo in the, I think it's kind of like some sort of ceremonial dress for that university. And a man named Richard Cooper reposted it and said, "Just look at the degree on that chick," said no man ever. Which is, of course, like we can already see where it's going, but this was something that that kind of created lots of traction, it kind of created lots of feedback at that time. And I got very curious at this moment, and I wanted to understand who is Juliet Turner, what she did, what is her research on, and where she graduated from, and again, also who is Richard Cooper. So, Juliet Turner, or Dr. Juliet Turner, in November of 2025, defended her thesis at the University of Oxford that is called The Evolution of Cooperation and Division of Labor in Insects, which sounds very interesting, I think, and directly related to STEM because it's in this field of biology and research in biology and entomology. And after that, I was very curious about Richard Cooper. What did he publish? This is his, I don't know, field of work, basically. So we can see from here that he's a red pill influencer. He's writing books about how to be an alpha male and how to win with women in life. And yeah, the feedbacks on these books are very different. You can see that some of them are 1 star, some of them are 5 stars. I went to Goodreads to check. But in general, I think we can probably all agree that PhD degree from University of Oxford is much more impressive. But what Richard Cooper actually, he became, because of his ignorance and because of his kind of like red pill agenda, he became a catalyst for an amazing movement across the world that motivated many women to go on their accounts in Instagram, in X, in TikTok, everywhere, and post their photos and with the hashtag or with the words, just look at the degree on that chick. So look at the degree, look at the 2 degrees on that chick, look at my degrees in Greek and Latin. And it kind of became this empowerment movement when everyone showed that women in science, women in research, women in not only in STEM, but in general in academia are creating amazing things, amazing research, and it's not something to look down at. And yeah, I think it's a great example of what we're trying to speak here. And yeah, Richard Cooper remained very unsatisfied with what happened, and I don't think he understood what he actually created by himself. So, returning to the topic of the webinar, what is gender-sensitive pedagogy? It kind of seems very obvious, but maybe it's not as obvious, or maybe it's a little bit more nuanced than many of us think. Normally, it's as a gender-sensitive pedagogy, we understand an approach where we approach to teaching that can recognize and address specific needs of all students. So, in general, regarding of their gender and ensure equitable, and this is very important, equitable opportunities for learning and participation. Not only to learn, but only to participate in the learning process. Why it's important? We speak a lot about equality, and equality is a great concept. However, by equality, we understand treating everyone the same way by giving them the same resources. And here there is one of the illustrations that I found. There are many of them. No, for example, with the also if we all are different height and we all get the same position to look at something, some of us will get the best view of the point, and some of us will not see anything because we will be facing the fence or something. Equity tries to work with this. So equity is not giving everyone the same thing. It's giving people the resources and supports they need. So we go and evaluate needs of people and their individual circumstances in order to arrive to the equal outcome. So we are trying everyone to have equal opportunities by but giving them everything that they need to receive to achieve those equal opportunities. Why it's important? STEM, as we spoke in the previous part, in previous webinar, STEM is still remains a male-dominated field, especially the higher we go in the hierarchy and higher we go in the power relations, basically. Education, especially traditionally, like traditionally based education, often, even unintentionally, even without recognizing it, can support gender bias. Gender-sensitive teaching increases participation, confidence, and improves learning outcomes. And as I said previously, it's enriching everything. So if everyone gets equitable opportunities to learn and to participate, we get better outcomes, we get richer knowledge, we get more research done, more better conversation, better dialogues, better communication, etc. And it also supports sustainable development goals, specifically SDG 4, inclusive and equitable quality education, and 5, gender equality. So this is why we're why our project exists, but why also other projects exist, why we're working on this topic and why it's so important. So if we speak about gender bias in the classrooms, as we go in depth on that, as I said before, it can be sometimes it's conscious, but sometimes it can be really unconscious. Sometimes it can be without realizing it, because for many teachers, this is something that what they did forever or what they saw done forever. So they kind of subconsciously they see it as a good practice, basically, as the way it should be. For example, teachers call on male students more often and wait longer for them to give them response. So they have more time to concentrate, they have more time to think, they have more kind of confidence boost from teacher looking at them and asking them more and giving them more possibilities, maybe to also even make an error. They get more eye contact, they get more attribution, they get better questions, so better higher order questions. And female students are interrupted more frequently. Teachers usually have less patience for them. They expect them to be neat, organized, etc. And sometimes, at least I went to school many years ago, but I remember that there was always this prejudice that, but you should have been like, you should be better. So if you were like, if my male colleague from the school, he's replying to the same question in the same amount of time, and as me, for me, it's not good enough because I need to be better because I'm a girl, because I need to be neater, more organized, more, I don't know. And so it was kind of not even the same result was not evaluated in the same way. And also, because of that, also female students, they're more often assigned like note-taking roles, maybe kind of like secretarial using old language roles, rather than leadership position. So, for example, it's very normal to hear, even sometimes we hear it when we do workshops and seminars and trainings now, when someone is like, maybe some girl, maybe some woman can take notes because you have better writing. But it kind of eliminates you from the possibility to take a leadership role in the group projects and stuff. So which are the principles of gender-sensitive pedagogy in general? First of all, it's power sharing between teacher and learner. And this is something that we're speaking about in many, many projects on many topics, is that when we try to reform certain aspects of education in many different fields, but especially here, we don't just teach. The power is equally both belongs to teacher and to the learner. So the learner should have power and a part in how the pedagogy process is created, because it needs to be built based on their needs, based on their circumstances, based on their interest also, etc. And equal participation and collaboration once again. So all the students need to have possibility to equally participate, equally collaborate, and try different parts in the classroom. Respecting diverse experiences. So again, we don't try to find one size fits all, because we will never find it, and it's not serving anyone. It's not serving students, because of course they will never fit into that size, none of them. And it also doesn't serve teacher, because this is how it becomes frustrating. You don't get the real results, the results that you need. The class is not motivating, the class is not interesting, etc. And challenging stereotypes and norms. So we need to, and it's a process, it's something that needs to happen for a long time, and it needs to happen continuously. It's not like we declare today that we don't have any stereotypes anymore, and this is how it is from now on. Unfortunately, as we know, stereotypes, and as we said before, stereotypes sometimes are unconscious, bias sometimes is unconscious. We need to work on it constantly. So, which are the practical suggestions we can give in this case? When we're speaking about STEAM education, that's what I said we will address. Our project is called Stream It. No? So we work with STEM disciplines, but bringing STEAM approach to STEM disciplines. What do we mean in this? When we speak about fields of knowledge that we address, it's STEM, no? Science, technology, engineering, and mathematics. But by adding E or by adding A, and for it to become STEAM, STEAM is an approach. STEAM is not a group of disciplines. It's an approach where to teach these disciplines, we add art. And here art is used in a wider sense, so like art and humanities, and humanitarian approaches, from humanitarian sciences. We with art, we try to make it more interesting, but also more inclusive, more open to everyone, and maybe sometimes even more manageable for certain students, in order to express themselves better, in order to communicate their ideas better, in order to find better solutions. For example, in many cases, as we see now with girls in the talent nurturing program, in many cases we did something that was artistic, but it was based on science, and it created great results for them. For example, we had in the second meeting, we had a professional come from an organization that is doing environmental education, and she taught them about natural dyes, natural colors that are found in plants and flowers. And for them, everyone was so excited, including the professor who came with them, because this was something that they learned, first of all, obviously about biology. They learned also about how different plants work, about which plants you can and cannot collect, because it's, again, environmental sciences, but also how to create them and how to proceed with that. And then they got to experience art, so paint with these colors. This is what we're speaking about in in STEAM approach. But here also, when we're speaking about gender-sensitive education, it's also interconnected, that we can apply all of these approaches together. So when we speak about like teaching, I don't know, maybe guidelines, we need to ensure that everybody has equal turns to express themselves. We need to make sure that all the questions, they avoid bias. And again, it's continuous process. It's not once for all, once at a time. We need to give more time for shy students to get more confident. And again, we need to give them possibility to maybe express themselves through other mediums. If we speak about group work, it's always much more beneficial to have gender mixed groups, but sometimes, for example, in the case of talent nurturing program, we chose to have only female group because we also wanted to completely eliminate the question of comparison, the question of competition or anything like that, which also brings great results. So in cases when it's possible, it's also very good to experiment with different gender groups, like either separate by gender or gender mixed. We can rotate leadership roles, which is very important, so everybody can try it and see if it works for them or not. Because not everybody needs to be forced to be in the leadership position. But to try it, yes. It's the same thing as with the STEM disciplines in general. Normally, when we work with students, we cannot tell them, no, you need to all go and study STEM. Of course not, especially with all the female students. But we can tell them, you can try, you can experience. You don't cut it off for you as a possibility only because you, like, there again, stereotypes, biases, or any type of preconceptions that you already had. As a language, we try to use gender-neutral terms. So firefighter, chairperson, of course, it heavily depends on the language. So we're trying to work it into all the languages of the partnership in order to understand how it works better. Some partners, for example, they even said that in their language it will never work, firefighter, but person who fights fire, it's more adaptable version. So it all depends highly on the context and on the language. In materials, and we will speak about this in a bit, we need to show people of all genders and all the roles, in diverse roles. And in feedback needs to be provided. It needs to be both encouraging, confidence building, and even in the cases of someone not doing great, for example, there's this research that says that it's not great to use a word such as smart, like to give encouragement, to say, but you're smart, you're very smart, well done. It's not something like we need to compliment or comment more not on the smarts as being something that is either you have it or not, but more on the effort that you put into it. That we can see that you put a lot of effort into this. I can see that you worked really hard on this project. I can see that you really studied for this. And for this, I want to compliment you and well done. If we speak about lesson planning, so of course, yes, obviously we need to have learning materials that are free of stereotypes. And this shows, like, this really can, even this can really change the perspective if we started early on. Because when we speak about the reform in education and different approaches for education, we start from basically kindergarten, or even from like kindergarten or primary school, because this is when we set the standards for everything. And this is when we show people, and specifically students, is there a place for you in this or not? Like, do you see yourself there or not? And this is very important in anything, but specifically in STEM education in mixed groups. Activities that need to learn all learning styles, and this is again where STEAM comes into play, because many students, obviously, they have like the normal standard school education. This is something where a teacher is teaching and the students are taking notes, and then they read the books, and then they do exercises. And for example, Italian system, its educational system is very heavily based on homework. But maybe, again, as we're working for equity, for equitable approach, we need to understand that for some students, maybe reading is not the best, like reading explanation for something is not the best approach. Or hearing teacher explain is also not the best approach. And the same thing is for them to express themselves. Maybe to express themselves in this way or not in the other way, it will work better for them. Classroom arrangement that can support equal participation. So I don't know, again, it's not always doable, but we need to aim for it in the sense that if somebody, obviously not all the classrooms are modulable, but to try and reach for that where everybody can be heard, everyone can speak, everyone can raise their hand, etc. And feedback and assessment that needs to recognize contribution and not gender. We're not speaking about well done for a girl, but we're speaking in general about well done. Uh, about learning and teaching materials, I always show this example, which is very, I think it's kind of outdated, but I am pretty sure that in many schools the books are still from those times, and this is what students see every day. Where females are, female representation is in all kind of care or assistant jobs, and male representation isn't being policemen, firemen, etc. So we need to see whether are all genders represented equally, first of all. Second of all, are the images non-stereotypical? Once again, yeah, because firemen and policemen, I'm pretty sure, like usually in all the books, they're always men. And we don't even speak about the possibility of there being a policewoman or police person or a firefighter, etc. Does the text use gender inclusive language? Once again, highly depends on the language, highly depends on where you, what is your language, like linguistics basis of your language. But it's an open conversation that is ongoing in many countries, and this is where we need to aim. And do activities engage all learning styles and all genders? This is also very important. Once again, I think I touched on this, but I'm not sure. But this is something that we kind of, yeah, hidden curriculum. It can be often overlooked and not seen, and not like, once again, without even awareness about it. So it's kind of like all the unspoken behaviors, norms, expectations that are transmitted through education. Once again, not looking like giving more eye contact to male students and not to female students, giving them more time to think than female students, encouraging them to lead and the girls to assist them, take notes or organize something, it's stuff like that. More masculine fields, and as we saw before, that engineering is still very, very male-dominated field that are portrayed more as for men. And here, this illustration, it's in Italian book that explains, first of all, what are they doing? And if you can see on this page to the left, they all are men. And what they're doing, they're firefighter, dentist, mailman, farmer, office worker, policeman, teacher, salesperson, etc. Only men. And when we see girls, when we see women in this book, we see girls playing with dolls, which is like, obviously, it's I took it from UNESCO report on exactly on hidden curriculums and on revision of educational materials, but this is extremely important and extremely telling because there are many books. This is much more current book than the previous one that I showed you, and it still represents these gender roles. How can we apply gender sensitive pedagogy in STEM? First of all, we as we spoke before, and as I discussed before, we need to present both female and male role models in STEM careers. Normally, school education is highly focused on role models, on male role models. We speak about the, I don't know, when we start from mathematics, we start with Archimedes and Pythagoras and everyone, only men. Then we proceed to Giordano Bruno and Copernicus and Einstein and everyone, and it's only men. I never heard about much about about female scientists in school, unfortunately. And we need to really change that, and we need to not only like, first of all, yeah, there are many, now that there are so much information about many inventions and many discoveries that were stolen from female scientists by their male colleagues, educators, etc. So this deep dive can be very, very beneficial both for teachers and for students. And second of all, to find, again, current representation on all levels, on all of all ages. For example, I use quite a lot now as we work with young girls. I try to work with inspirational stories of teenagers, of female teenagers who changed the world. Now, who in school heard about an electricity crisis in Philippines and invented a torch that works from the human heat. No, so when you take it in your hand, it starts lighting up. This is something that is so impressive and so interesting, and there's so many examples of that. And I think it really works great for working directly with the younger students, because this is something where they can represent themselves. This can be something very motivating for them in order to proceed with their own ideas. We need to balance competition and collaboration. It's also because both are important, and none of them is important enough to focus only on them. We need to foster both competition and collaboration between students in all costs. We need to offer real-world projects that can allow equal expression and leadership. So I can see that it's really, really very interesting for students, especially younger ones, when they can see something that is from the real world, something that is not from something that is happening right now. Again, girls who presented in talent nurturing program, many of them made presentations right now about the Artemis mission that started now in the space, and like literally for them being able to speak about something that is happening currently, that is like the cutting edge science right now, was something very inspirational and interesting. And we need to also encourage girls to explore non-traditional roles, but all of the students know. So we need girls to explore more leadership positions, etc., and boys to engage in more caregiver roles, because it's also, again, their patriarchy and this type of approach, it hurts everyone, harms everyone. And for many boys, for many male students, probably they can find themselves in exactly in this, in caregiving roles quite nicely. Maybe it's their focus in life, and they're always encouraged to only be I don't know, astronauts and Nobel Prize winners. Uh, we propose all of this information is going to be in the guidelines for teachers, and I'm going to be sharing them with you when they will be published. But so we also propose a checklist for educators, what they can ask while they're preparing for the classroom and while they're evaluating their own educational approach. Do I treat all the students the same way? Who gets more attention? Eye contact and reinforcement from me. Is it specifically based on the specific needs of your students, or is it based on their gender? Are stereotypes avoided in examples and visuals? Many teachers prepare their own visuals these days, and so this is something that is very important to evaluate, which visuals I'm preparing and presenting. Is participation in groups and leadership balanced across genders? Do we do this? Do we pay attention to this in general? Gender sensitive education, pedagogy, it can seem like extra work, but it's not. It definitely is not, because first of all, it can improve learning outcomes when everybody understands everything, when everybody can participate, when everybody here is heard, feels heard and seen and understood. It improves learning outcomes for everyone. It brings builds confidence and the sense of belonging. And we're actually planning to write an academic article on the sense of belonging in STEM, uh, across different interviews that we conducted, because it's potentially a very interesting thing when you can see that who felt like who started their career feeling like they belong in it and who felt like they didn't, and how they decide to continue or did they decide to drop out. um, this is a very important concept in this sense. So everybody to try and make every student feel like they belong in the classroom, even if it's not their idea for their future, still to know that they belong in the classroom where we study science or math or etc. It expands career aspirations for all genders. So maybe students get more ideas of what they never thought they will do, never thought that they will even aspire to, never thought about trying, etc. It creates fair and empowering classrooms, and this is what I think we all aim for. This is something that we all want for classrooms. Otherwise, and this is a very outrageous example that I really like to finish with, because I found it a couple of years ago and I still cannot stop thinking about this. Maybe somebody knows what these women have in common, these three women. You can just open your microphone and reply if you're if you know. If you don't know, I will tell you in a bit. Yeah. Okay, so uh, all of these three women from this first slide, they are all in the list of speakers for this conference, the 𝗲𝗏𝗃𝗃 Tech Conference 2023. They were all in the list of speakers, officially announced. This is, as it's a tech conference, it costs a lot of money to participate. So normally people evaluate based on the level of speakers, based on representation of what you can get from this conference. They evaluate whether they will go there or not, because the prices are like in thousands of dollars. So this is the first thing that they have in common. And second thing that they have in common is that none of them exists. They were all generated by AI, by this man, 𝗬𝗏𝗃𝗃 He's, I believe, Latvian of Russian descent, and he's the organizer of this conference. And what basically happened? It kind of came to light in 2023 once again, in the blog post of here you can see I put a screenshot from it was a blog post by one of the tech kind of influencers. His last name is 𝗏𝗏. I think he's Hungarian. And he kind of started evaluating whether, I think he was also interested to participate. And then when he went to the page of the conference, he saw this speaker, Anna Boyko, who said that she's a staff engineer at Coinbase and core contributor in Ethereum. And as far as I understood, for him, because I read his blog post a couple of times, for him it was very strange that she was both in these both are kind of like Bitcoin, crypto something companies, but one of them is kind of well established and existing for a longer time, and another one is very like new and startupish and just barely like started to exist. And he said that it was very weird for him to see someone who has such high staff positions in both places at the same time. So he contacted someone from one of these companies, and he asked them, but so what's the deal? And they said, we never heard about her. He started researching this speaker everywhere online, and he didn't find any traces of her, like not her name, not her profile, nothing, apart from the speaker list of the conference. Then he started verifying other speakers, and those of them who didn't exist, there were no trace of them. They were all female. So what happened, basically? As far as allegedly, as far as everyone understood, When he published the speaker list for the first time for the conference, many people who were evaluating whether pay him or not, they gave him feedback on the fact that it was all men. It was all tech bros and no female representation. And what was easier for a person who lives in tech, who works in tech, who has lots of connections, who has a big network, who organizes this conference for many years? What was easier for him? To go and find 5 female speakers in tech, 5 women in tech, or to invent 5 women? And this is something that is so infuriating about this situation, is that me, I don't work in tech. I'm a sociologist. But even me, I think I would know at least 20 women in tech with no problem. Like I can just name them and invite them anywhere where they can participate. For him, it was much easier because mostly who he was inviting as speakers, they were his friends. He had a relationship, like friendships and etc. They were all, again, tech bros, all between themselves. So these were the people who he was inviting most of the time as speakers. When they told him, please invite some women, he evaluated and he decided not to. And he kind of here, as you can see on the screenshot, here there are also some screenshots of how, like, they found the source for the face that he generated for the speaker list. And if you can look at her face, it's kind of like you can see that she's made by AI, because it's like, now that we know, it's a couple of years passed, and I think AI became much better now. So here in this earlier examples, I think you can kind of tell that it's not a real person on the second photo. But here in the screenshot, it says that he said that he contacted 2 female panelists, head of developer relationship at Amazon Web Services, Kristen Howard, and Julia Kirsina. And here you can see her also in the list of speakers. So he contacted both of them and secured that they will participate, but then they withdrew. And so he had no choice, and he created these demo personas in order to fill in the gaps and show the female representation. What he probably was actually trying to do is that he created these female speakers, and then on the day of the conference, it would have been announced that they withdrew, they got sick, they cannot participate, and so some men will step in and present in their place. But the interesting thing about this profile of Julia Kirsina, again, you can see her LinkedIn profile, etc. When people started digging more deeply, they realized that most probably she was also created by him, created by AI. She's a tech influencer on Instagram. I think she has like around 100,000 followers now. And it's mostly her photos, like beautiful woman photos with the laptop everywhere saying, I code from here today, from the beach, from a beautiful hotel, from somewhere else. And once it all came to light, her account also kind of stopped functioning. It's still there, but there are no new updates on this. And so for us not to, for these things to never happen, when it's easier to create fake women with AI than to actually contact real women, there are so many women in tech, than to actually contact female speakers and get real female perspective. For this, we need to invest more in gender-sensitive pedagogy and address all of the biases and address all of the hidden curriculums and stuff like that. Thank you so much. This was my last slide in this webinar.